Linda Ronstadt was a very famous singer who sold millions of records and won many awards. She was known all over the world for her beautiful voice. But then something very sad happened that changed her life forever. This is the story of how she became one of the greatest singers ever, and how she faced the biggest challenge of her life. Linda was born on July 15, 1946, in Tucson, Arizona. She lived on a big ranch with her family. The ranch was huge. It was 10 acres of land. Linda had two brothers named Peter and Michael, and a sister named Gretchen. Her family loved music very much. The ranch was a wonderful place to grow up. There were horses, wide open spaces, and beautiful desert views all around. Linda's father was named Gilbert Ronstadt. He came from a family that had lived in Arizona for a long time. His family had come from Germany and Mexico many years ago. Gilbert ran a business that sold machines called F. Ronstadt Company. He was very proud of his Mexican and German roots. Linda's mother was named Ruth Mary. She took care of the house and family and made sure their home was always warm and welcoming. The whole family went to church because they were Catholic. In 1953, their family was even featured in a magazine called Family Circle because they were such a close and happy family. Music was everywhere in Linda's house. Her father would sing Mexican songs and play instruments. All the children would sit and listen, and sometimes they would sing along too. This is how Linda first learned to love music. Her brother Peter grew up to become a police chief, but Linda wanted to do something different with music. Every evening, the family would gather in the living room and make music together. It was like having a concert in their own home every single day. Linda's great-grandfather had come from Germany to Mexico in the 1840s. His name was Friedrich August Ronstadt, but he changed it to Federico Augusto Ronstadt to sound more Spanish. He married a Mexican woman named Margarita, and they moved to Arizona and started a family there. Linda's grandfather was very smart and built streetcars for the city of Tucson. These were like buses but pulled by mules. He made 6 of these streetcars and helped people get around the city better. The city of Tucson was so thankful for his work that they named their main bus station after him many years later. On her mother's side, Linda's grandfather was an inventor named Lloyd Groff Copeman. He was incredibly smart and made almost 700 different inventions. He created an early electric toaster that made breakfast easier for families. He also made things for refrigerators and even invented the flexible ice cube tray that made it easy to get ice cubes out. His inventions made life easier for people all over the world. One of his most famous inventions was the grease gun, which is still used in machines today. He also helped make the first electric stove and even worked on an early version of the microwave oven. When Linda was growing up, she heard all kinds of music at home. Her father played piano beautifully, filling the living room with wonderful melodies. Her brother played guitar and sang in the boys' choir at church. Her mother and sister sang Broadway songs and funny songs by Gilbert and Sullivan. The radio was always on, so Linda heard rock and roll, country music, gospel, opera, and Mexican music. By the time she was 10 years old, she had learned about many different types of music. She once said that if she didn't hear a song in that Tucson living room, she couldn't sing it later in her career. Linda's parents taught her about different kinds of music. Her mother showed her funny and clever songs that told stories. Her father shared classic American songs by famous composers like Cole Porter and George Gershwin. Linda also listened to famous singers from Mexico and France. She loved a Mexican singer named Lola Beltran and a French singer named Edith Piaf. Their voices were full of emotion and passion. She also loved a country singer named Hank Williams, who taught her about telling stories through songs. Linda listened to jazz singers like Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday, who had smooth, soulful voices. But her favorite was an opera singer named Maria Callas, who had the most powerful and beautiful voice Linda had ever heard. When Linda was 14, she started a band with her brother Peter and sister Gretchen. They called themselves the Union City Ramblers, and sometimes they were called the Three Ronstads. They played at small places like coffee shops, college parties, and local events. The band played folk music, country music, bluegrass, and Mexican songs, all the music they had grown up hearing at home. Linda wanted to mix folk music with rock and roll, which was something new and exciting. She was always looking for ways to make music sound different and fresh. When Linda was 18, she left college and moved to Los Angeles to become a singer. This was a big and scary decision because she was leaving her family and the safe life she knew in Arizona. In Los Angeles, she met some friends and started a band called the Stone Ponies. The band members were Linda, Bobby Kimmel, and Kenny Edwards. They got a record deal with Capitol Records, which was very exciting. They made 3 albums together: The Stone Ponies, Evergreen Volume 2, and Linda Ronstadt, Stone Ponies and Friends Volume 3. Their biggest hit was a song called Different Drum, which was written and by Michael Nesmith before he joined the Monkees. The song became very popular on the radio and reached number 13 on the Billboard charts. Even today, people still love this song. Linda's voice was so good that she decided to become a solo singer. This means she would sing by herself instead of with a band. In 1970, she made an album called Silk Purse in Nashville, Tennessee. She worked with a producer named Elliot Mazer, who was recommended by Janis Joplin, another famous singer. The album cover was very memorable. It showed Linda standing in a muddy pig pen. She didn't like the album very much, but it had a hit song called Long Time that made her more famous. This song was popular on different music charts and even got her first Grammy nomination. As Linda became more famous, she worked with different musicians. Some of the people who played music with her were Don Henley, Glenn Frey, Bernie Leadon, and Randy Meisner. These musicians later became the Eagles, which is a very famous rock band. Linda also worked with a producer named John Boland who helped her make better music. She said they worked together like partners, and he helped her turn her ideas into real songs. Linda also performed with other famous singers like Jackson Browne and toured with them across the country. Being a female singer in the 1970s was very hard. Most rock musicians were men, and they didn't always treat women singers well. Linda had to work extra hard to prove she was just as good as the men. She was often lonely when touring because life on the road was tough. She had to deal with people who tried to control her career and didn't respect her as an artist. In interviews, she talked about how difficult it was to be a woman in the male-dominated rock scene. Women singers were often seen as less important than men, and she had to fight for respect every day. In 1975, Linda made an album called Heart Like a Wheel that made her a superstar. This album was the turning point in her career. The album mixed rock and country music and became a huge success. It reached number 1 on the Billboard 200 chart and sold over 2 million copies. The album had 2 big hits, You're No Good and When Will I Be Loved. You're No Good went to the top of the charts, and When Will I Be Loved became her first number 1 country hit. People loved how Linda could take other people's songs and make them sound completely new and special. Linda kept making hit albums and songs. Her next album, Prisoner in Disguise, also became very successful and went platinum, which means it sold over 1 million copies. This made Linda the first female artist to have 3 platinum albums in a row. The album had hits like Heatwave and Love is a Rose. Linda could sing rock, country, rhythm and blues, and even Mexican music. She was not afraid to try new things and mix different styles together. Her voice was so powerful and beautiful that people all over the world loved her music. Linda's success continued with her album, Simple Dreams, which became one of her most successful albums ever. The album had several hit songs, including Blue Bayou, which became one of her signature songs that people always think of when they hear her name. Another hit was It's So Easy, and this song made history because Linda had 2 songs in the top 10 of the Billboard charts at the same time. She became one of the most successful international female touring artists, traveling all over the world to perform for her fans. By the late 1970s, Linda had become one of the most successful female singers in the world. She had shown that women could be just as powerful and successful as men in rock music. She broke down barriers and proved that female artists could sell millions of records and fill huge concert halls. Her success opened doors for other women in the music industry. Linda was known for her incredible vocal range, which means she could sing very high notes and very low notes with equal skill. Linda dated some famous people during her career. One of her most famous relationships was with Jerry Brown, who was the governor of California. Their relationship was very public, and they even appeared on the cover of Newsweek magazine together. People were fascinated by the romance between the rock star and the politician. She also dated comedian Jim Carrey and movie maker George Lucas, who created Star Wars. But Linda never got married. She often said it was hard to find someone who could understand her creative needs and match her emotional depth. In the late 1980s, Linda decided to move away from the busy life of Los Angeles. She first moved to San Francisco, but eventually she went back to her hometown of Tucson, Arizona. She wanted a quieter, more private life, away from all the pressure of being a celebrity. In Arizona, she adopted 2 children and became a mother, which brought her great joy. She chose to focus on raising her children and living a more normal life. Linda was also very interested in politics and social issues. She spoke out against the Iraq War and supported gay rights, immigration reform, and protecting the environment. In 2004, she got into trouble when she praised filmmaker Michael Moore and his movie Fahrenheit 9/11 during a concert. Some people in the audience got angry, and there was a big debate about whether singers should talk about politics during their shows. But Linda didn't back down. She believed artists should use their voices to speak about important issues. Linda won many awards for her music. She won 11 Grammy Awards, which are very important music awards. She won awards for country music, pop music, and Mexican music. She also won an Emmy Award for a TV show and was nominated for a Tony Award for acting in a play. But then, something terrible happened. In the early 2010s, Linda started having trouble singing. Her voice wasn't working the way it used to. She went to doctors and found out she had Parkinson's disease. This is a sickness that makes it hard to move and control your body. Linda tried to keep singing, but it got harder and harder. Later, doctors found out she actually had something even worse called progressive supranuclear palsy. This disease made it impossible for her to sing at all. For someone who had spent her whole life singing, this was the worst thing that could happen. Linda couldn't sing anymore, but she didn't give up completely. She wrote a book about her life called Simple Dreams. In the book, she told stories about her music career and how she dealt with getting sick. She also worked with a Mexican music school to help young musicians learn. Even though Linda can't sing anymore, people still remember her as one of the greatest singers ever. She showed that women could be just as successful as men in rock music. She sang many different types of music and touched the hearts of millions of people around the world. Her beautiful voice and brave spirit will always be remembered. Linda's story teaches us that even when bad things happen, we can still find ways to help others and make a difference. She may not be able to sing anymore, but her music will live on forever, and the young musicians she helps will carry on her love of music.